The first sample essay question for Unit 3 says, assume that a profit-maximizing firm in a perfectly competitive industry is earning economic profits. For a given market price, draw a correctly labeled graph and show each of the following for a typical firm in this perfectly competitive industry: the marginal revenue, output, and economic profits. So let's go ahead and draw our industry, price and quantity, supply and demand, and then we'll label this industry. And then we have our firm over here. And we will draw this price straight over. And that's our marginal revenue. And here's our marginal cost curve. And since they're asking to make a profit, we need to put in our average cost curve. And of course, that would go below the marginal revenue curve if we're making a profit. So we'll go ahead and add that in. Label that AC for average cost, and we'll identify the output by finding where MR equals MC, and then we would color in the profit, so where MR equals MC down to the average cost curve and over. Make that lovely rectangle there, shade that in, and now you've identified marginal revenue, you've identified the quantity, and you've shaded in the economic profit. So now you have completely answered letter A. For letter B, they want you to show what happens in the long run. So we're going to draw it from long run profit, or short run profit, to the long run. And so we need to take the price here and draw it straight over. And because there's new firms that are entering, that's going to increase the supply. Label that S1, make sure you label. And then it just asks you to identify what happens to price and output for the industry and firms. So go ahead and find that. So you can see for the industry, the price goes down and the quantity goes up. So then try to draw it for the firm. So find your new MR curve. So that's MR1. And where that intersects the marginal cost curve, you can draw a straight line down. And that's your new quantity. And so here we can see the quantity decreased for the firm and the price went down for the firm. Now it gets a little bit trickier. It says assume the government sets a price that is less than the equilibrium price but greater than the average variable cost, and indicate how the changes in marginal revenue, level of output, short run total cost, and short run total revenue, what will happen. So we need to put in a price below the equilibrium point. That'll be just an example of a price ceiling, of course. And then we'll label that over here, price ceiling. And it says it needs to be above the average variable cost curve. And I don't have that in there right now, so I'm going to go ahead and draw an average variable cost curve. So that's my ABC. The reason I need to do that is because I need to show that I'm still going to be able to operate in the short run, that I'm making losses by minimizing them. I shouldn't shut down. If the average variable cost was above the price ceiling, I would shut down as a business, but I'm not. And so we need to locate the marginal revenue curve, and of course that is where the new price is. So there's MR2. That would be the marginal revenue curve. The level of output would be where marginal revenue intersects the marginal cost curve. And so we would find that point, draw that straight down, and there's a new quantity. I'll label that Q2. Short run total cost, what happens there? Well, the prices has decreased and the quantity is lower, and so we know that the total cost then is going to go down. So that's all you need to say there, is that the total cost decreases. And for the total revenue, again, the price for the product and the quantity decreases. And so total revenue is price times quantity, so that also decreases. And that's the answer for number 1.